silver linings. Trimmed it up.
You trimmed it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a request or did you just decide?
No, yeah, I got tired.
You need,
Tired of dealing with
you
it.
need a pen, Mom.
Lance said he didn't like it.
No, Susie always said.
Oh, that one might be better though.
Yeah, if you want, as long as you do it before you leave.
Yeah.
The sunglasses are from Jen, who wants us all to look really wonderful this weekend.
Yeah, if you need another pair, we have, so you can have
Oh,
two.
yeah, I would love another pair. That would
There you
happen.
If anybody else needs carrots, they have some. You gotta get them.
They were a big hit at the summer concert series.
Can I get one, Penny?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I can get one for the. Very nice.
They were quite a hit at the, for attendees of all ages. Enjoyed our. Joe Stokely's mother thought they were the best thing ever.
All right, we are recording, so I am also going to call to order the meeting of the Pleasant Recreation Park District Board of Directors for Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Members of the public are welcome to attend either in person or via Zoom. The Zoom information is on our agenda as well as a call-in number. And there will be opportunities on any of those media to participate in public comment as well. Let the record show that all members of the board of directors are present. All members are present, yes. And let's do the pledge. Derek, would you like us to pledge?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comment. This is the portion of our meeting at which members of the public may address the board of directors on any item not on our agenda this evening. Any members of the public in the audience wish to address us on any items? Okay, do we have any emails, Susie? That we
No,
received
we
on
haven't
this?
received any emails.
Okay, thank you. Any hands raised, Michelle?
No hands raised.
Okay, close public comment and move to item 4, reports and presentations. 4.1 is the introduction of our new special events coordinator, Liz Harrison.
Okay.
Michelle.
Yes, so I am pleased to introduce you to Liz Harrison. Liz, can you come sit in the hot seat? It's the seat that we use for guests, not the hot seat. So we're super excited. So Liz started with us on Monday. So this is pretty much probably one of the most challenging weeks to start when you're the special events coordinator and going to be responsible for this event in the future in Blues and Brews. And so we're excited. Liz comes to us from the Alameda County Fair. She just finished that on Sunday and then started with us on Monday. So she had no break whatsoever. She also had a stint, actually 2 stints with the Contra Costa Resource Conservation District. So she's familiar with districts, as well as the Contra Costa Food Bank. And so she's brings a great wealth of knowledge of sponsorships and volunteers and events in general. And so Liz, besides her actual acumen in the job skills, she's extremely bubbly, has fit in really well, and we has been a breath of fresh air when everyone else is kind of deep in the weeds. So I wanted to get the opportunity because I know most of you will be there this weekend, and so Liz will be there, and she's going to be learning alongside Jen and Sheila. And I wanted you to put a face to the name, and so you knew when she's wearing a staff shirt that she's one of our newest, brightest staff members. So, Liz, did you have anything you wanted to say to the board?
No, everyone's been so lovely, even in the thick of planning this event. It's a chaos week and everyone has still managed to be really welcoming and really friendly, and I am just so excited to be here. So it's nice to meet you all, and I'm really happy to be here.
We are very excited to have you here as well. This is, you have big shoes to fill.
I do.
But also, we just love putting on these special events for the public and welcome ideas and energy and happiness and joy and all of that. So this could not come at a better time. Any other board members would like to make any comments? Welcome.
Welcome, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this weekend, yeah.
Yes, it should be a good one, a hot one. A good one.
Yes, I understand we'll have some EMTs in the booth and all of that, so because the Alameda County Fair is
Yes.
not known for its cool weather.
No, this year, but yeah, not typically, so.
Very good.
So great, good. And I told Liz, this is her first week, I'm like, you have to come to the board meetings, so the board knows who you are, but she doesn't typically need to come to the board meetings, except if she's gonna give a presentation on events, so we're lucky to have you. Thanks, Liz, and I know Jen's super excited to have you starting, so
Very
yes.
Will Liz be providing the after action report?
Well, she will probably do it, since she didn't do a lot of the planning, she'll probably be involved with, both Jen and Sheila, but yeah, she'll be involved in that.
Maybe you'll come to that meeting and present the
Yeah.
data to us.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Great, thanks, Liz.
Done in the hot seat.
You're done. It's not the hot seat, it's the guest seat.
Sorry.
And you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'll
you're
want
tired.
to.
Yeah.
That's an early morning, so I'm gonna.
Yes.
head out.
And a long stay, so yeah,
I know she sat down and said, maybe she thinks she has to.
yeah. no. She's not good on the, she's still learning all the nuances, Sandy, so, yeah.
Well, obviously, we had not met her
Yeah.
and seen her spirit, but just seeing Jen light up.
Yeah.
When she was in just takes enough reference, the background and her experience, as well as her personality.
She's gonna be a great addition to our team, so we're super excited.
Item 4.2 is Michelle's report. We have a very nice written report, Michelle.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the written report stand on its own, except for a couple of things. One, where did Jen go? There's a birthday card going around for Ted Winslow's 100th birthday, so please make sure I think most people signed it. It's from the board of directors specifically. I want to thank Jen for getting in the craziness of getting the spotlight out, as well as Blues and Brews. She got that made. And I picked it up today, and so I'm excited to be able to send that off to Ted and his family. And so the other thing, so the spotlight was finalized today. It went to the printer, and it will hit mailboxes the week of July 24th. As I mentioned in my last report, Jen and Jeff Gillette went to the post office, met with the postmaster. Jeff has told me when I was at the concert series that the north side of Pleasant Hill did get their outlooks. So we're hopeful that at least this time it's working. So we're excited about that. So that is good. I included some information on the capital project survey update. These are the final printed surveys. So I have lots of boxes, so please take them and pass them out to people you think might be interested in your neighborhoods. Whatever, wherever you people that you have. We will be at all of our events, the city events. One I forgot to put on here will also be at National Night Out on August 1st. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can pass it around here.
Any number on the count?
So in addition to the ones that we passed out specifically at the concert series, it also went in the Outlook. And so we have, as of this morning, we had about 90. So,
Nice.
which Larry was very happy with that
Yeah.
early
so-
quick response. So that was good. So we're excited about that. Larry, because of the holidays and everything, he's gonna wait till the beginning of August to mail the ones that we're gonna mail out. So right now it's, just kind of at the events, we're gonna have posters at all of our facilities. So we're excited about that. But yeah, it was funny because Monday when I met with Larry, it was at 70. And then in the last few days, we had 20 more. So we're at 90 right now. So which is a good response in that first kind of week. So just good.
You've seen many that are actually mailed.
Not yet, not any that are mailed. Yeah, mostly online or a lot of people, a number of people filled them out at the concert series and left them with us.
Mhm.
So they, so I want to thank Tom. Tom was working the booth with me, and he walked around and handed them to people and talked to everybody and asked them to, fill out the survey. So staff's going to be very engaging. We're not just going to wait for people to walk up to the booth. We're going to be asking people to fill it out and be active in that way. So we had a number of them that were dropped off, and then I was testing the system, so I put them in, so yeah, we'll have staff do that in the future. And then if you didn't hear it or you haven't seen it on Facebook or Instagram, I want to say good job to Jennifer, who is down there and not in here, on her radio stint. So Jen was on KKIQ. She did an interview on behalf of the district for Blues and Brews yesterday morning, and so she did a fabulous job. And KKIQ is one of our media sponsors who's promoting the event. And so that was, and then they also, so Jen posted it on our Facebook and Instagram page, and then KKIQ also shared it out to all of their page. So that was great. So Jen did an excellent job.
What's the radius or the range of that radius?
I don't know and have to find out.
East
But
County
it's mostly, yeah, I think it's mostly Central County. Yeah, Central County and East County. So yeah, so pretty much our target market for those who listen to the radio stations. But yeah, so that is that. And then just a final reminder, I will be, I put it in the report, but I will be out of town next week. Nicole Watson will be acting general manager. I will be at Lake Almanar. I will have spotty reception, but I can't get a hold of it. There's an issue, but with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions from Michelle? How are pre-sale tickets for the Blues and Brews tonight?
The same as previous years. So, you know, although one thing that we found with COVID is people seem to wait to do things because they don't know if they're gonna be able to do them. So, so it's probably about the same as last year. Not quite as robust as previous years, but we sell a lot of our tickets on Friday night. So at the pre-party, so we're expecting that. So, any other questions?
Great report.
Thank you.
So when we give this to people,
Yeah.
are we recommending, is this the URL?
Yeah, so that's
This is
the
QR
yeah, the
code.
QR code. Yep, I recommend that way.
Yeah.
That's the easiest. They can just put it in themselves.
Mhm.
And it follows the survey, or if they fill it out and you take them, just make sure you drop them off here and we'll input them.
Okay, so we can't.
You
take them back.
can take them
Yeah,
back,
okay.
and if there's, you know, if there are people who don't want to use the QR code, and you know, just, you can take them back and give them back to us.
That one question.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Do we have this link on our webpage?
I don't know if that has gotten up yet. We're gonna do some of that after Blues and Brews. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Are we requiring people to put their name and email address and? address and all
Their
this out
name is I believe a name is required. Their email address is not required.
there? Okay, phone number required?
Nope, not required. So looking for it. And so, but those fields on the on the survey aren't required.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah.
If they go online to fill complete the survey,
Yeah.
are there the same sorts of?
Exactly the same. It's
information
exactly
that
the
they
same.
will be
Yep.
asked to fill out?
It's exactly the same. And one of the, besides getting information, it's also to find out who's interested in things that we're proposing. And so, you know, so that is one of the reasons, you know, one of the ways we're trying to find out who might be interested in something in the future. So.
Oh, does your name, does your email address automatically populate when you do it that way?
If you're logged into Google Doc, if you're logged into Google, it does. So,
Okay.
yeah, because it's a Google Doc. So Google form, so.
It's interesting because, you know, I took the survey, but I had a hard time. I'd say, oh, high priority.
And you can say they're,
That's what
we have,
people will do.
we have people, some people think they're all high, some people think they're all low, like, you know, it's gonna be a mixed bag, but yeah, so. Yeah, but I'm pleased with how it turned out. Again, I want to thank Jen for her, you know, design high. I think it definitely looks great, and so we're excited about that.
Well, I really like the, where we settled on the, you know, sort of the title of our approach, so we've got room for improvement.
Yeah.
I think it's really resonates.
Yep, so you'll see these out and about, so staff will be doing that, but I have boxes and boxes, so please take some and hand them out to
Yeah.
people, so.
Are we doing this at Blues and Brews, or do we
Yep.
have so many people coming from outside of?
No,
Pleasant Hill
it's
that's-
gonna be, there's gonna be available at our information with that Blues and Brews as well, so.
And
yeah.
so how are we if they don't mark off the resident, non-resident, circle, how are we
Right.
gonna know whether they are actually,
Well, I mean,
This
this
is a
isn't,
name.
yeah, this isn't the sign, this isn't the public opinion poll, so it's just more of a trying to get the information. And so I have found so far that everyone has filled out all of the information.
Mhm.
So, they're usually, if they want to fill out the survey, they filled it all out. So we haven't had that issue yet. So
and Jen has returned, which is something.
Jen has returned. Well, there was lots of kudos put on Jen, and Jen wasn't here. So I talked about your stint on KKIQ. I thanked you for the spotlight. I talked about lots of good things. You can go back and watch the video.
Thank you.
But I was, so Jen's been a rock star this week. So
Yes, yes. Thank you, Jen, for all you get. There'll be more later. Okay, any final questions of Michelle on the survey or any of her report? Any questions of the general manager that you want to ask now as opposed to waiting until the end of the meeting? No? Right. Then we will move on to 4.3, which is presentation regarding the California Class Cash Management Solution designed for public agencies by Rick Wood, Finance and Administration Director for California Special Districts Association.
yes, so he'll be on Zoom.
Okay.
No, just,
That's a cat, I think.
yeah, there's the cat.
Oh, no.
There you go.
So there we go.
There you go. So there's Rick. I'm gonna let you, hey, Rick, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you as well. Let me just do a brief introduction. So the Budget and Finance Committee heard a presentation by Rick on the California Cash Management System, and I included a staff report that talks a little bit about the benefits of us moving in this direction. And I do have Chris Petlock. He's our Admin Services Manager, and Chris wrote most of that staff report. But today, Rick is going to talk about just what the class management system is, and then today's information only. And then if the board is interested in staff coming back with a recommendation of us pursuing something like this, then we'll come back at a separate time. So I have Rick here. So Rick, I'm just going to let you go ahead.
So, Michelle, would you like, I know that we did the full-blown presentation recently. Would you like me to go through that PowerPoint again?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
just hit a few highlights okay.
Yeah, go ahead and do the full presentation, because I have two board members who are at that meeting and 3 who are not. So go ahead and do that.
So let me know if you can see that.
Yep,
Yes.
we can see it.
Derek, are you good with that?
Yeah, I actually have 2 screens.
Go
I can get over at Michelle's.
Yeah.
and-
ahead, Rick.
Perfect. So thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Board of Directors, for allowing me to participate this evening. I am the Finance and Administration Director for CSDA. I act in that same capacity for the CSDA Finance Corporation, as well as the Special District Leadership Foundation. Tonight, I'm actually here to talk about an investment program that CSDA and the League of California Cities joined together a little over 2 years ago to start developing an opportunity to provide a diversification opportunity to invest public money. There are a few options out there that exist currently, none of which we felt were really the prime class of the pool to be able to provide to our membership. So we did a lot of work with the league in order to try to find and put together something that we thought we would be very happy with to provide to our members. And so that was California Class. And again, the league and CSDA joined together to create what was a joint powers authority that launched just a little bit over a year ago. Participants in the program must be public agencies. So me and Michelle can't invest in it, unfortunately. but if you are a public entity, you can. So any state agency, any counties, any special districts, cities, we have some school districts and other types of public agencies that are actually investing in it. This is all driven by California Government Code 53600 as far as who can participate in what is called by the state of California a local government investment program. The Joint Powers Authority launched last July, and this is the Board of Trustees currently. There are 2 city representatives that are appointed by the League of California Cities. There are 2 special district appointments that are appointed by the CSDA Board of Directors. And then the 4 of them actually appoint a 5th member of the Board of Trustees. They all serve 4-year terms. They must all be participants in the program. And then going forward, any participant in the program could actually serve as a member of the Board of Trustees. So once the JPA was created and launched, the board contracted with US Bank to be the custodian of the funds, Public Trust Advisors to be the investment advisor, and I'll talk about them a little bit more. Legal counsel began as Orrick, which is a global law firm, but you may know Jarvis Fay a little bit better, and they're the ones doing the actual day-to-day legal work. And then we have an independent auditor, Cohen and Company. The primary things that California Class was built on was first and foremost the California Government Code. 53600 in all of its subsections actually defines what we as public agencies can invest public money into. And then the second and super important piece is your own individual investment policy. And I apologize, it says Central Fire District. I did this presentation for them this morning. But those are the 2 primary pieces of information that is necessary in order to invest public funds. The pooled programs that we're talking about, for if anyone in the room is not really super finance related, I'll try to be simplify it as much as I can. The primary fund we're talking about is called a prime style fund, meaning that it is by SEC rules considered a stable net asset value fund, meaning $1 in today, you get the same $1 out tomorrow. So preservation of principal. There is, it is rated by Standard & Poor's and Fitch on a weekly basis at AAA-M, which is as high as they will rate any fund. Your liquidity is daily. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The Government Code 53600 in all its subsections. And the reason why it is a stable net asset fund is because the maximum maturity of any of the investments within the pooled program is 60 days or less, meaning that it's a very short duration type fund, which in the current interest rate environment is the absolute perfect place to be, because as interest rates continue to rise by the federal government, this fund being so short picks up those increases on as it happens. And then the interest is paid on a monthly basis. So if you're familiar with LAIF, which is what's in that far right column, that's the State Treasurer Pool program. And they are also a stable net asset value fund, meaning they have never not met a redemption ever. So you put your money in, you get your money back out. So there's no loss of principal. They do not have a weighted average maturity that they post it regularly, and it's generally around 280 to 300 days. So they're definitely not a short-term liquidity type fund. So, and we'll talk about the interest rates. The one in the middle there is the Enhanced Cash Fund. We have not launched yet And the reason why is because in the current interest rate environment, being as short on the yield curve as possible is where you're going to make the most money. The enhanced cash fund, we will launch someday, and probably within the next 6 to 9 months as interest rates stabilize, or if the feds do what they keep promising they're going to do, and that's by lowering interest rates next year. The enhanced cash fund would be a great place to actually be. But today in the current environment, that short-term prime style fund is actually the best place to have investment money. I mentioned that Public Trust Advisors is the group managing the funds, and it never fails that when I do this presentation, I get the question of, well, why would we invest public money in something that is so brand new? And that's just simply not the fact and not the case here, because Public Trust Advisors have been investing public money in California for decades. The only thing that is new is that we packaged it together with the League of California Cities and created the Joint Powers Authority to make it more accessible to our membership rather than having to contract directly with Public Trust Advisors. So they have done this across the country for decades. The map that you can see there in the bottom left corner is where they actually have pooled programs like California Class. And they currently invest over $74 billion of public money. So it's really the only thing they do. They don't invest in the stock market. They don't invest for private investors. They don't operate in that world. They only operate in the public agency environment across the country. This is kind of a repeat. They do over $70 billion in public money. These are some of the pooled programs that they have across the country. And I'll tell you that the very top one, California Class, says that assets under management are $378 million. Today, we hit $650 million. So it's not a small program, which adds to that validity of how well it's doing. So a couple of the main features, you can have unlimited transactions. So this is not like an SEC governed federal money market account where you can only move money out of it 6 times a month. This is what is called a local government investment pooled program. And under the California government code, we do not have those same restrictions, meaning you can put $1 million in today and take $1 million out tomorrow and do that every day for the entire month. There are no limitations with regards to the transactions. There is no minimum balance. There is no maximum balance. You can have unlimited sub accounts, which that one's a lot of fun. I act as the CFO for 5 or 6 special districts just on a temporary basis to kind of help. And we have pretty strong reserve policies at a few of those districts. And this gives us an opportunity to segregate that money within the same investment program, but to show them as separate accounts and they can get their own statements. That's not something that is easy to do at LAIF or within some of the county programs. There are no transaction fees related to the program. So that means there's no wire fees. There's no annual membership fee. There's no transaction fees. There's no overnight fees. There are no transactional type fees associated with the program. So, but I have to be very transparent. It does cost money to actually administer and make available this kind of program. So I showed you the way the JPA is structured, that we have an auditor, we have legal representation. The trustees are all volunteer, they're not paid, but there are some administrative costs. And so within the JPA agreement itself, it allows for up to a maximum of 15 basis points of administration fees. Now, we're not charging that at this point. It's currently at 5 basis points. And so those of you that are not mathematicians, 15 basis points is 15/10 of 1%. So 5 basis points, which is the current fee structure, is 5 tenths of 1%. So it's actually very, very minimal. And so the way that that fee structure works is that I'm going to talk about in just a minute what the interest is earning for it and what all the participants are being paid from an interest income reference. But let's say the program is earned 5.05% today. You as a participant would be paid 5%. The additional 5 basis points would stay within the program to pay for the administration costs of running the program. So what is paid to the participants is net of that administration fee. So you never see a bill, but you will see in the quarterly financial reports that we provide to the board, you will see what those total costs are, because we are trying to be completely transparent with this entire program. Did I explain that okay, Michelle, or does anybody have any questions?
No, I think, is that the end of the presentation?
No, I have a little bit more. I just wanted to make sure I can do this in my sleep, so I kind of get carried away and just run through it.
Yeah, I think we understood that part.
Okay.
There'll be definitely questions when you're done at the end.
Okay. So I mentioned the transparency and the reporting thing. One of the things we love is the portal. I'm going to show you that. And their customer service is second to none. And one of the primary things why once you become a participant, you're just going to, most of them tell me how much they love the fact that they can just pick up the phone, somebody answers it and answers their questions and helps them. So this is the actual transaction portal that we use. And there in the top right corner was what I was talking about creating sub accounts. Once you get the account set up, and I'll talk about the security involved in doing that, you can just go in here, hit that button, and you can open sub accounts if you have things like reserves, or I have a bunch of cemetery districts that use this program, and they create sub accounts for the endowment funds that they have, where they need to really truly keep them separate. So this is that makes it a very simple way to actually do it. This is the profile page where you can set up your security and your notifications however you want and add as many layers to it as you want. So for example, I'm the CFO for the Mark Twain Healthcare District. I have the ability to move their money, but Dr. Brandy Smart, who is the CEO, gets notified immediately anytime I initiate any kind of transaction, as well as the board treasurer is set up to be able to go in and look at all of the accounts, not move money, but actually look at the accounts, get statements, get notifications. So you can change that however it works out best and however your district feels the most secure about it. I have places where one person can set up the transaction, but another person has to come in and approve it and actually make it take place. So you will have the ability to have that kind of authority with regards to who can do what and who can see things. This is the actual transaction portal page where you can go in and actually make deposits, make withdrawals. You can do it by ACH, you can do it by wire. If you do it by wire and you do it before 11 a.m. today, that money will be in your bank account that afternoon. If you do it by ACH, obviously that's an overnight type transaction. And this is where I like to talk about the security of this program, is that right there where you see that drop down that shows the bank account, you cannot change that on the fly. You can't just put any bank account in there that you want. You have to go through the security process that actually takes about 2 days to work through, where you submit your banking information. Public Trust Advisors does their security process. They verify that it truly is the bank account or the public entity that's doing the work with on your behalf. So you can't just change that bank account without going through that security process. This will be a lot of fun when a lot more counties come on, because you can actually do participant to participant transfers, meaning if your county's in the program, they're sending you property tax money or something, they can actually just do it through this portal. And we do have a few counties in the program that are actually very looking forward to doing this very, very much. Just a quick synopsis: unlimited sub-accounts, limitations, whatever authorization that you want to set up. You can have it be dual, you can have it be triple, you can, however you want to actually set that security up. I mentioned that it's a stable net asset value fund, which that talks to, if you look at the government code, it says that we as public entities need to pay attention to 3 very primary things: preservation of principal, liquidity, and then yield. And so this being a stable net asset value of that. And these numbers are a little old. I'm going to show you some of the newer ones in a second. As of this morning, California Class is paying to its participants 5.29%. And in comparison, LAIF was paying 3.3%. And then down there below, there's just a fun little calculator that if you had invested $15 million in this program, January 1, you would have earned $343,000 in interest income during that time period. And so right on the front page of the California Class website is this little calculator, and you can go in and put in whatever numbers that you want for whatever time period that you want, and it will actually show you what you would have earned during that time period had you been participating in this program. Simple to join it as you are.
Rick, just a minute. You're breaking up every once in a while, so maybe you can turn your video off. That might help.
Okay, if I can do that.
Yeah, it just seems that you were good and then you started breaking up. So, and I think and as far as the portal and everything, that's more staff related. So if you have anything specifically about yield and that sort of thing for the board, I think is probably the most appropriate.
Yes, so this was the page where I was talking about the fund and the yield. Yeah. It's as of this morning, it's paying 5.29%. LAIF was at 3.3. So that basically was my presentation. If I missed anything or skipped, Michelle, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Rick. Just to kind of give, so Rick's talking about California Class. Chris and I would like to participate in this particular program. It would give us an opportunity to diversify the funds that we have. And so primarily right now, our funds are cash on hand sits in 2 locations. Sits in LAIF and the county pool, investment pool. And so Chris moves the money back and forth depending on the best yield right now, right? And our yield is, it's better than it was in LAIF a couple of years ago, but it's still, not the best. And so what we as a staff would like is for, if the board concurs, is to come back with an update to our investment policy. I'm going to have, I would have Rick look at our investment policy and make sure that we're in compliance, as well as, us having a conversation about what what our initial investment might be. There's a lot of the tools that Rick talked about as far as sub accounts and things like that would be helpful for us on our interest right now in LAIF. It's one big pool, and then Chris has to do the calculation based on our funds. And so, so it definitely would save some staff time there. We also feel we get a better yield, and at least in this current environment, to assist. So Rick is here. Chris is here as well. So Chris, can you join me up here in case they have questions for you? If there are questions of Rick or staff at this point in time, Chair Bernardo.
All right, I have questions, but let me defer to my fellow board members first. Anyone have questions at this particular point? Not comments yet. We'll bring it back to the board for comments, but let's just do questions.
Yeah,
Derek.
I had a question, with regards to sub accounts and what way we would want to utilize that capability. It seems like it's a nice feature to have, but I just wasn't familiar with the way in which we currently make use of sub accounts in our.
Senior center is probably
Yeah.
a great example.
Right.
You probably know more about.
Yeah,
how to do all that.
so in your reports that you get on a quarterly basis, there's a fund report. So all of those are separate funds. So we have a CIP fund. We have the senior center fund, which is which part of it used to be outside of the district finance system, but now we brought that back in as of July 1st, or even before that. So there are lots of different funds. We could set up, we don't technically have a reserve fund at this point in time, but we have computers. There's a number of internal funds as well. So.
I have another question. When I read through the staff report, it mentioned, cybersecurity as being a potential risk that we're exposed to currently. And this may be an improvement over that. In what way are we at risk from cybersecurity?
Sure. So most recently, when we received COVID relief funds, and in the midst of that audit, the Treasurer's Department, which controls LAIF, they went quiet. They were attacked by cybersecurity. They could not communicate with us anyway. We didn't lose access to our fund, but it's not inconceivable. City of Oakland, they had a cyber attack down there. Folks haven't been paid or went without being paid. And I don't mean vendors, I mean staff went weeks and if not months without being paid. During this earlier presentation, he related to us down in Florida, same situation where staff went, the agency went months without access to whatever funds were in that county treasury due to cyber attacks. And so, from my point of view, and we have staff here that have had their banks change ownership in the last crisis, which is directly related to increasing interest rates and kind of that, how quick can you get out of whatever funds you've got invested? If you're in a 300-day fund and you can't get out, that's what happened to some of these banks. And so some of these banks have been gone under. US Bank isn't in that kind of danger, but it's still not inconceivable. So really, from my point of view,
It's on the list.
it is on the list.
It's on the list.
So from my point of view, if we can put our cash in different places and I see it as one pool of money in my simple little mind, and we have all these funds and whatever the board directs us to do, we can do that in ways, but also at the same time, we have money in different places where we could get better yield. But I believe at the end of the day, the best thing is under the current circumstances is just safety and security so we can continue to operate, make sure that we can pay our staff, we can pay our bills, and we're going concern while somebody else pulls their stuff together and then have those cyber attack that they left themselves subject to. We try and keep it as minimum as possible within the operating fund. I really just try and keep it to 3 to 4 weeks of cash in there and try and move that. The county is not easy to deal with. They have transfer limits. We have to go up there with a check. We have to sit there usually for 45 minutes or so while they figure out whatever they figure out, and then we go to the bank and we have to deposit a check there. And so, this kind of thing would allow us, instead of moving bigger amounts of money out of the county, which is how I do it now. So I'll take money from the county and say 3 months worth of cash, move that to LAIF, which has a lower interest rate. And then slowly kind of move money from the county into operating accounts so that we're not too exposed on counterfeit checks. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, but that requires going up to the county, doing that dance, and then kind of. So this would just be one more place to put money. A better yield, you know, the life isn't the best yield. So. That answered.
Yeah, no, that helps. Yeah, and I guess, you know, I don't perceive any risk, you know, for having all funds, you know, with California class. I don't know what there would be any advantage to maintaining, you know, investments with life. If we decide to go California class going forward.
Or having the three, having the county, having, and having this and just kind of spreading it out. And again, just kind of, if the county treasury somehow it takes a hit. We have these other two places, or if US Bank takes a hit, we can kind of figure it out. And again, the government agencies are a big target. I mean, we're seeing that in the news, and it's just, you know, saying it couldn't happen to us is probably the worst of all, right?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, for, you know, the liquidity that's offered, it may not be all that, you know, necessary for the types of, you know, things that we would use it for.
Yeah, if you're asking me, it's about just safety.
Other questions?
We just had one question. I think, Rick, you told us the last time we met, I believe Contra Costa County is not participating in this as yet, correct?
Correct.
But yeah, are any of the local counties around here? Alameda County must be.
Sonoma
No.
County is, Tehama County is. There are three more that I saw on the waiting for security to be checked list. And I remember which one of them they are, but they're none of them that are in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Were there cities in the Bay Area that are participating? That
I think
were
Morgan Hill
disclosed
was
with
one.
you?
City
Yeah,
of
what
Morgan
was
Hill,
the local
Christina
city?
Turner. She's our chair.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, she's on the document. And is there's somebody from Alameda, or I don't know why I keep thinking Alameda.
Yes,
The
yes.
Special district.
board vice president is Ryan Klossnitzer. He is the general manager of the Alameda County Mosquito Abatement District.
Okay, that's where it was. I don't have any other questions.
So I'm a little confused about how the investment company invests these funds. You mentioned the feds and interest rates. The most investment houses are not putting money into bonds, they're putting it into equities or some combination or whatever. What is the performance of, and what is the investment strategy of the investment house?
So public trust advisors is the actual folks that do the credit research, do the actual investments. They have to comply with California Government Code 53601, which governs what any public agency can do with money in California. It does preclude them as public agencies from investing in equities at all. We cannot invest in the stock market. So what they're investing in is the very highest quality treasuries that are out there, repurchase agreements between banks that are very, very liquid and have very, very high interest rates on them. Some of the highest rated, again, AAA plus rated CDs that and some commercial paper, asset-backed papers that are out there. The same things that life invests in, that the county is in, just on a a larger scale and with a shorter duration in mind. The main reason why LAIF is paying 3.3 and California class is paying 5.29 because LAIF goes 300 days out on the yield curve. So the time the Feds pop the interest rate up, take them a year in order to be able to catch up to what California class picks up within a 30-day period. So we're investing in very, very short term, very, very liquid, very, very high quality investment vehicles that the California government code allows us to invest in, and none of it's equities.
So can you provide staff with a performance graph, say for the last
Absolutely.
10 years of this investment vehicle?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I was at a California class board meeting a few hours ago, and that's where I'm at right now. And that was one of the slides that was presented there, and I definitely can send that to Michelle.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Happy to do
There's
that.
always, this allure of, higher interest rate. It always makes me very queasy because of our fiduciary duty here to make sure that we're not chasing yield instead of chasing security.
Also have it in the website too. You can bring up their performance instead.
I noticed in the. By the way, I'll share with all of you when that'll be in the comment period. Can you tell me why this investment concept isn't in New York and in New England, relatively conservative areas of the country fiscally? Why are they not up there?
They have a pooled program in New York. There's a New York class. Actually, it was on that map, and now I can't get it to go backwards. Yeah, one of them is New York. There's the Texas New York class has got $8.39 billion invested into one of these programs.
It's moving backwards now. Rick, if you're going to get back to where you're going.
Yeah, it was on the map that I showed you earlier. They just opened. Yeah, New York is one. They just opened South Carolina and they opened Nebraska in the last couple months.
Like Rhode Island's on the list as well.
So there must be something in the fine print about the liquidity of all of this, Rick, that if there should be a depositor run, that somehow there is a lockdown to prevent the same sort of problem that happened, with Silicon Valley Bank and whatever the other bank was in San Francisco. Where people all need to, they get queasy and they all pull their money out at the same time. That could be very devastating. I realize these are short-term investments or reportedly short-term investments, but still, it seems like they're just for their own preservation. They need to have something in the fine print that would allow them to keep us from our funds for some reasons.
I have read the portfolio prospectus. I have read the joint powers agreement, and there is nothing in there that says that you can't put your money, put $1 million in today and take $1 million out tomorrow. There is nothing in there that says that. And I think one of the differences between this banking environment is that banks are taking your money and then they're lending that back out for long-term type situations. And so they don't have the liquidity, they don't have the cash, they don't have the ability to turn around and sell their investments like a treasury or like a CD or like the types of investments that are in here. repurchase agreements with banks are overnight agreements where they borrow money from each other. They're very liquid. And the money really is overnight and is back there again the next day. So this isn't like you're depositing money into a bank account, turning around and lending it out. You're purchasing very high quality commercial paper, sees investments the within the pooled program that have the maximum currently of about 40-day weighted average maturity. So if everybody on the planet within the public trust advisors world pulled out their $74 billion all at the same time, the very worst case scenario is they're in that 45-day window. Everybody would get paid.
All right, any other questions?
Or comments. This is a presentation, so we don't have any, we're not making any decisions. This is
Okay.
just to ask questions and provide staff feedback so we can come back with the recommendations. So,
Well, I certainly understand the issue of putting it in a third vehicle so that, in the cyber hacked world that we live in, that there's a third vehicle, which we have funds of, parked so that they have them available. I do see some security in the process that the county puts you through rather than everything being, push button. And when it's all push button, mistakes can be made and monies can be lost. I also come from, experience with the district where, funds were lost and we had to, make that up. And the whole specter of not having enough funds to even make payroll is, really freaky to me that, that might be something. And I'm trying to balance the risk between cyber hacking and diversification in something that, frankly, I'm not really impressed with the folks that have jumped aboard this particular program yet. If I'd seen large cities, if I had seen, counties, if I had, there were, major special districts that were involved in all of this, I'd have a little more comfort level, but I would feel kind of like we're trailblazing here to a certain extent, and I'm not real comfortable with that.
Well, I can actually provide.
That I have here.
I can provide Michelle a list of participants if you would like. Mojave Water District just deposited $80 million in there, and they're the second largest water district in the state.
Hope that's close.
West Basin Water District deposited $26 million in there. Moraga, the League of California Cities deposited $30 million. There's over 100 special districts in there currently, and I can give you that list. We can make it very public. We try to make this program very transparent.
okay, Rick, I'll follow up with you on that and get that list for future action. Anybody else have any comments, questions?
I actually asked the same questions during the first presentation, and I think sort of fell on
when the committee.
Yeah, because I was worried about a run as well too, just given the environment that we had been in, and I was a little bit more reassured that the vehicles are really relatively short term, and as he was saying, worst case scenario, if all 75 billion went out, it's just the 40 days that it would be, rather than say mortgages or other things that are years and years and years out. But all 74 billion would have to go at the same time. I was actually more interested in this safety aspect of it, because when I went to the special district meeting, they had an entire or the park meeting, they had an entire sort of presentation. There's a bunch of different scenarios, not just for hacking, but phishing scams and checks going in the wrong direction and stuff. And just having another.
I got 3 emails today asking me to change banking information and new remittance advice addresses for folks.
Yeah.
Every one of them will get a phone call from me before we do anything.
Yeah.
It's very complicated. And it's the same thing. And that's with our vendor side. That was like US Bank. CalPERS, I got an email from CalPERS 2 weeks ago asking to change their banking information. Looked perfect. It looked perfect.
And so I.
Thank you for being vigilant.
Yes.
Thank you. So the fact that it is push button, but the way it's been described is you can actually create basically steps in there. Not only multi-factor, but it's like almost like triple or quadruple factor authentication where you can split up different things. And so if we are as a board concerned, like, well, I don't want Michelle writing and authorizing, but I want you to write, but you to author. Oh, however you want to set it up. I think that's really unique tool that other entities do not have. And so even though it's a manual process, the scenarios that they presented at the meeting were many of them were manual processes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And so
easy.
it's very easy to sort of fake a lot of different things and people getting tricked. And these are just people walking in or just faking some identity and checks going out for no reason.
And some of these things are not days. I worked at an agency where over 3 months they reported into a sales process. And they were going to sell $80,000 or $90,000 worth of stuff. They claimed to have wired money in, but actually walked in and deposited a check that was no good. And then said, "Oh, I sent you too much money. Send me some money back." And this has been going on for months.
Yeah.
And
The setup.
the setup.
It's all
setup.
there.
Yeah. Well, the institutions also have to honor the credentials that we've set it up with.
Yeah.
And that isn't always, the case. So that's something to be concerned about as well.
I do hear you that you're concerned because this is only about a year old. Right? A little bit more.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Rick, when did it start?
So the actual fund launched July 1 of 22.
Yes, so it's just a year.
Yeah. So there is some newness to this.
Considering the participant pool is as big as it is, considering it's only been a year or something.
Yeah, but we'll, staff will come back. We hear your concerns. We'll come back with a recommendation. Maybe to test the waters with a small amount of money to start with, just to get in and, and so, and so we'll come back with that. So,
Yeah, if we go out to the public with a bond measure, and we suddenly have 2 or 3 tranches of bond money available to us that we have to keep someplace.
Right.
Want to make sure that we're not just allured by the yield, and not looking into the traditional avenues that have proven their potential.
yeah, well, I mean,
We might have to get advice on that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we could put bond money in there because of the yield on. I think there's arbitrage problems around that. We counsel.
yeah, okay, yeah,
And smarter minds than mine.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to council, but, I mean, at least this does provide more security. I mean, Leif is, set up where, Chris, back and forth without any, but that's just how it is. And so, it only, requires one person, we have that person identified. And then back and forth.
I heard
So,
that.
yeah, I do like a number of the features of this particular program. And so, and it may also help us, earn a little bit more interest than we have been recently. So
Does Capri offer defalcation protection for our employees who might do something with funds that they don't know?
yes, we do have that.
And does this program offer any insurance? Is there any federal oversight of it and federal?
I don't believe so,
SBIC?
Rick.
So the insurance associated with this program is the value of the investments that you own within it, exactly like your county and exactly like Leif.
Not sure I understand what that means.
So there's no FDIC insurance on public money. There never has been and there never will be. There's other protections for public money. Now, the investments that you own within California class, the investments that you own within the county, the investments that you own within Leif are all very high quality, are all very liquid investments. And you actually, you don't put money on deposit at Leif. You buy investments within the pooled program and you own them. And that's the insurance that you have, is because of the quality of the investments within the program. So the state does not back LAIF, the county does not back their pooled program. There is no insurance for these kinds of programs except for the value of the investments that you're purchasing.
So our faith is in the investment.
We own the asset. It's kind of what it's saying. So they ask the values in the
Well,
asset
I own it
itself,
anyway.
like the house or whatever.
Bottom line, no insurance.
No
Yeah, there's, bottom line is we don't have it now.
You gotta trust the investment.
I'm like, bottom line is we don't have it
They're doing
now.
what they say they're doing,
We don't have it now with any of our other two pooled investments that we're in, so.
except we have performance.
Or history.
Yeah, history, yeah. Yes. Great. So, okay,
All right,
Anybody
any
else?
questions, comments?
we'll come back. Thank you, Rick. I will follow up with you.
Thanks, Michelle. And I will get you some of that documentation as soon as I can.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Rick.
Bobby, you can hit that. Okay.
Yeah, people get upset when they have it now. Do their own performance. You can see that the performance over time, and you can download.
Yeah, but does that tell you what that's really invested in, or what that's really the purchase?
They got it.
In their perspective, they can go do whatever they purchase, but it varies from day to day. Individual for it.
Okay, yeah, so we don't really
Yeah,
read
we
much
don't-
yet.
yeah.
No, okay, that's fine. We just need to write it down.
Okay, all right, thank you very much for that, bringing that to us, Michelle and Chris, thank you. Oh, Chris,
Yeah.
Chris is gone.
He moved back to the back of the room.
Okay. Moving on to item number 5, our consent calendar to approve bills to be paid, minutes of the regular meeting of May 11th, 2023, and to approve resolution 2023-07-13A, authorizing an update of district signature list on check signers. How timely is that? So any comments, questions, or motion to approve the consent? Questions?
Just like one correction on the minutes, it was the fundraising event for Gregory Gardens rather than Sequoia.
Oh.
And then I had a question on 5.3, the authorized signers.
Mhm.
It's just the signers, but it doesn't necessarily indicate the limits of their authority. Is there some designation between how much?
So these are the people that sign checks that are authorized by the board.
Oh, okay.
So those are the people that can sign the checks that are authorized by the board.
I gotcha. Okay, I
So-
wasn't sure.
so-
There was some
so,
sort of
yeah.
signing authority
So
amount.
that list that comes to you, and
Mhm.
so, yeah, so that
Okay.
we do have spending authority, so my spending authority limit is 25,000. And then department heads are 10, and then people under that is about 5, it's usually 3 or 5 depending, but the check signers are specifically for those checks of warrants that you approved. Those are the people that then sign those the next day.
Yeah, thanks for the
Yeah,
clarification.
and we need 2 signers on every check.
And the list is long because people are here, people not here.
Correct.
You have
Here,
to-
not here, and we need 2 signers. So, so we need to be able to pay people in a timely manner after the board approves that. So, yeah, that's why the list is long.
Okay. So with the correction that has been requested, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. It's been moved by Vice Chair Vincent and seconded by Director Glover to approve the consent calendar. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'm sorry, I was going to amend that to approve the consent calendar with the amendment to the
Minutes.
minutes. Oh, there we go. Susie, get out of my way.
Wait.
There's gonna be 3, right?
Motion carry and approval.
Only 2, okay. All right, action item 6.1, consider adoption of resolution. The operating budget for 23, 25, our 2-year operating budget. Michelle.
Great. So this is a follow-up to your last meeting where you reviewed the draft budget, general manager's budget that was presented. There are no changes from that budget to this budget. There was discussion and information, but there were no requested changes, so the budget is exactly the same. I do have one change to the resolution. We changed everything in the body, but apparently on your resolution, the fiscal year is supposed to be 2023 to 2025, so. So that correction, so when you adopt the resolution, I'd like it with that correction. Basically, the information is the same. I did not, this meeting, I did not have time to gather all the information requested about the cost recovery policy. That will come back at a later date. So the cost recovery information is just, this is where we're at with this budget. So just informational, that's all that is. And the rest of that will come back at a later date. And with that, I recommend the board approve the resolution and the operating budget for 2023 through 2025 that is balanced. So that's always a good sign. So.
Always good to be in the black. All right. Sandy, as chair of the budget committee, do you have any comments or recommendations?
No, I went over the whole thing and confirmed that there are no changes. And we've got the only thing is correction of the title of the resolution right up front there, and it looks good to go. And we'll talk about cost recovery at a later date.
Okay. I appreciate the clarification that the cost recovery. The cost recovery figures are advisory only, or at least just a report out. Because I know that we'd like to see some kind of a spread, where did we start, what happened with COVID and where are we at now? And then have some fuller discussion about that in terms of targets for our staff. Any questions at this point? Okay, I'll bring it to the board for any comments or discussion.
Do you want to open for public comment?
No. The members of the public present here would like to address the board on the budget item. Seeing none. Susie, do we have any emails?
No, we haven't.
Michelle, any raised hands?
No raised hands.
Okay, we'll close public comment on this item. Okay, and bring it back to the board. Any final comments or discussion about this?
Just kudos to the budget and finance committee and staff for the work on this.
And in presenting one of the finest documents that we have ever produced in this district. Yes, very nice, very nice. So to the extent that, well, I know how many meetings it took of all, for both of you on all of this and all of the input that you had. And I appreciate the input from all board members as well. The CIP budget will be coming later.
Yes.
And we'll be talking about that separately, so that is not part of this. All right, if there are no further comments or kudos or whatever, I will entertain a motion to approve the budget.
I'll move to approve the budget and the resolution as noted with the correction to have it read fiscal year 2023 to 2025.
Would you mind reading the resolution number?
Resolution number 2023-13B. Adopting fiscal year operating budget and approving pay scale for PERS eligible employees.
No, I'm sorry, that also needs to.
Oops,
Yeah, we're not doing that.
we're not doing that. That one needs.
I'm sorry, that needs to be.
Yes, I read that.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's-
nope, we didn't change, we didn't change the pay scale, so yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
just. The one that was on the action item on the agenda is correct, so resolution 2023-07-13B adopting fiscal year 2023-25 operating budget.
Okay, is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Thank you. Any second? Thank you. It's been moved by Vice Chair Vinson and seconded by Secretary Tran to approve the 2023-2025. Wait a minute, we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Moved and seconded. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you all. All right, we'll move on to Michelle, do you have a time frame for bringing the cost recovery back to the board?
It will most likely, we'll get a number of other high priority things, so my guess is probably in September.
September?
Yeah, is my guess, and
Okay.
so, yeah, because I'm gonna need to put the package together, and I'd like to go back to budget and finance first before I come back, so.
Thank you very much.
Good.
You done, Susie?
I haven't even pushed the button yet. English showing already.
Really?
Yeah.
That was weird.
Me too, thank you. Item 7, verbal reports from committee chairs and opportunity to set meeting dates. Land and Facilities met actually today. And we discussed just in terms of topics, the capital improvement plan projects and priorities, not the budget. Not any budgeted items for that, but that would go to Budget and Finance Committee. But we enhanced the list of projects, and staff has recommended some timeframes for them that will then go to Budget and Finance for discussion about what we can afford. Okay, and whether those priorities are consistent with our fiscal needs. We also discussed the update from staff regarding the ADA obligations that the district has. It's a big number, seven figures. And so Budget and Finance will be coming back with some priority proposals on that. And staff is also going to be confirming our legal obligations so that we'll make sure that we are doing things adequately so that we don't get ourselves in any kind of legal Dutch. So that will then be coming to the full board probably in September.
Probably in September, the ADA transition plan, yeah,
That's
for adoption.
right. So that's what we discussed today, and we also have set a future meeting for July,
August
August
9th at 8 AM.
August 9th at 8 AM. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other chairs either wish to set meeting dates or report?
I still need to get with the program committee. And then I got Secretary Tran contacted me about the personnel committee. So we're gonna try to get a personnel committee meeting.
I'll send you some dates, I think.
Send me some dates, yeah, and then I can forward them to the other personnel committee.
Okay. And who's on the committee? Bobby?
It's Bobby, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so. yeah, so-
I'm on the two committees that haven't met.
It's like this. Hey.
Well, I do remember when Michelle put the outlook for the year, that we are loaded personnel and.
Yeah, it's loaded, yeah.
So they have to be
Yeah,
second.
second half of the year.
Yeah.
Second half.
But I had to get some other things.
I know it's coming.
It's coming,
Your time is coming.
it's coming.
All right. Item 8, board announcements and requests to staff. Bobby.
I don't have. Been gone for less than days, so I have nothing to report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We missed you. The 4th of July. Derek.
I mentioned some earlier today. I'll just mention it again. I really felt like the facilities and the turf maintenance program that we have in place is really making everything look very nice, especially right for the 4th of July events. Looking forward to Blues and Brews as well, and that upcoming event. Nothing really else to report other than I wondered if there were business cards that are available for board members, because when we interface with the public soon, I want to be able to kind of hand out that information to them in addition to.
Yes, but yes, board they do get business cards. I don't know if we forgot to order them when our news board member came on, so yeah, we will get those done.
Yeah, I've also asked Michelle to maybe do a little more improvement on these, make them a little more. Concerned, I guess. That's the right word.
Yeah, after we get through Blues and Brews.
Yeah, we get through Blues and Brews. Yeah, no, absolutely, we do understand.
Otherwise, it would have made Jen's head explode.
Thank you, Derek.
Yeah, don't want to make Jen's head explode.
No, not good.
Yeah, we'll make her head just the way it is.
Necessary.
But I do commend her and then everybody who participated in the 4th of July parade. That was again a fun event for everyone. I think it went, I don't know if people were walking faster or just driving faster, but it ended quicker than I thought it would this year. So but it's still fun nonetheless. So thank you for putting that together. Just a note, the Presidential Commission on Aging completed their community interest survey. We just got the results back today, and just a couple of notations of interest for PHREC. This is a survey to senior population, so they got back over 100 surveys. And so some of the things that seniors were particularly interested in, one of their top choices and things that they participate in, like 48% of the people put exercise programs. So right at the top, they're even higher than dementia awareness or home care programs or any other things. So exercise programs right at the top there. Fun activities for seniors in terms of highest priorities for Pleasant Hill, that's right up there, 21%. Walking trails, 38%. And then the way that seniors love to get information, their number one answer was email, 74%. Even higher than anything else, right? Instagram or social media, public email was there in the way that they like to communicate. So just of interest to the district. That's it.
Wow.
That may be because our senior sound now goes out. I think we kind of push them in that direction.
Well, there's a whole generation, you know, that was
Yeah.
really resistant to all of that. So that's really an interesting
Yeah.
factoid.
Yeah, I think email is sort of that piece of technology that people are comfortable
Yeah.
with. I mean, I remember when we first started
Yeah, but
using email in high school.
you have to have, you know, internet access and all of that, you know, to figure all that out. Yeah, well, that's really cool. Thank you. Thank you, Queen. Debbie.
It's been a busy few weeks.
Mhm.
With all kinds of things. I got to attend the Spirit Barbecue, which was fun. I told you before, anything food related, you know, I'm gonna be there. That was fun. It was, you know, short and sweet, but it was good to see everybody, and weather was not, I mean, it was perfect. It was really nice out. Then there was a July 1st event at Rogers Ranch that was kind of a kickoff pre-4th of July. It was nice out there that afternoon. Was I there when you were there?
No.
Okay, I was there before you were there.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people. There were some bands, but it was warm. I'm getting confused on how hot is hot, you know, these days. 4th of July was great. I have to thank Jen and the rest, everybody that was there putting things together, and Sheila Petruvo for riding in the little cart with my banner, and Emilio for driving that. They made sure that I didn't get bumped since I was walking in front of it. That worked out well.
That was nice not to get run over.
Yeah, I know. We had that, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to Booze and Brews. I'm thinking that with the heat, you know, we all have to be extra vigilant about drinking water. I mean, beer certainly has got a lot of water in it, but stay hydrated, get misted if we need to get misted. So I think it's gonna be, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the breeze is gonna be there for a little bit of the time. So we shall see how that works. Are they gonna have those ices? I picked up an icy at the snack shack the other day. Yeah.
Kona Ice will be there, so
Yeah,
there is
okay, those will be
Kona
there.
Ice vendors.
I also, if board members haven't had the opportunity to have a get together with Melanie, I did that today. We met here in the conference room, so I had a good discussion with her. So I would encourage, as part of that process with the consultant, to get that done. And it was something that I wanted to do it here. And she was nice enough to come out. It was helpful, but I know everybody's got different schedules, and my schedule's not as, you know, I don't have to be in an office or someplace else. So that worked out for me. Other than that, I think everybody will be breathing a sigh of relief after Saturday. And Michelle, have a great week off. Thank you. And we'll see what the end of July and August brings. That's all I have.
That's all.
That's it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I regret not being at the July 1 Rogers Ranch event. I didn't hear about it until the day of.
None of us did.
And unfortunately, my schedule didn't allow me to be there, but it sounded like it was very cool. And the folks in Rogers Ranch will be coming to a future meeting, and we'll have an opportunity to hear from them on some of the things they've been up to, and maybe hear a little bit about how we can collaborate a little bit more. The 4th of July was a hoot. I have to really give a shout out to Jen and her team for all of that you did, all the way down to the duct tape and, you know, decorating the vehicles and stuff. I mean, you're just amazing. You think big and you think little, and everything in between. You just care about all of us, and we just really love being loved. So thank you very much for what you do for us. Um,
We missed it.
Horrible timing.
See, I told you.
I echo that. I think you're doing a great job.
Anyway, thank you for taking such good care of us, all of us. A shout out to Elvin Seidenspinner, a colleague of yours as well, who told me that he went to high school with you, like half of Pleasantville. But a more laid back, gentlemanly guy who understands little kids love the doors off of Jeeps. I mean, he didn't mind the kids trumpet in the back. He was just awesome. So shout out to you, Elvin, if you're listening. Thank you very much for the lovely drive that we had. My grandkids and I just really had a good time. Looking forward to Blues and Brews. I didn't hear back from you about whether you still need some help at the booth or pouring or something. So let me know if you still have an opening. And I'll be there. Sandy and I are going to be introducing acts and thanking sponsors and things like that. So anyway, and if any other of you are there at the time when we're making those announcements, please feel free to join us up on stage. So we'll just have the full, as many board members that are there up on stage, so everyone can see. No one will listen to us anyway, no matter. They're there for a reason other than hearing from us. And I think that that's it. Everybody.
The only other thing I did want to say is that Sandy and I attended June Catalano's retirement party,
Yes.
and we gave her a kudos and thank you and a nice send off. Sandy did a lovely job of giving her a very nice send off on her next endeavors. And again, Jen came to the rescue and got this beautiful bonsai tree that is kind of in the shape of our logo. And had a lovely little saying on it as well,
Yes.
and so which was super nice, and so yeah. But
Michelle did a great presentation.
Yeah.
Read your words on
Yeah.
the seal on the package, and everyone just loved it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so we were officially part of the presentation in thanking June. So we actually were, and we're close to the top, so it was great. So,
Yeah, a lot of history there.
Yeah, so it was
A lot of
good.
history.
But yeah, that was the only last thing, because we had an extra week, so it seems like we had a board meeting, but we didn't have a board meeting. So
Anything else? Then for the good of the order, I'd like to adjourn this meeting in honor of Ted Winslow and his pending 100th birthday. Congratulations, Ted. We all miss you and wish you all the very, very best. So with that, we will adjourn our meeting. Thank you all.